Some animals disappear for years, not days, not months, years. And yet, against all odds, they return. They cross oceans, deserts, and thousands of miles, guided by something we still don't fully understand. In this video, you'll see real animals that return to the exact same place after years away, places they hadn't seen since they were young, from sea turtles that crossed entire oceans to birds that found their way back to a single patch of land. These journeys raise one haunting question: how do animals remember where home is, and what invisible force keeps calling them back? Let's begin with a journey that starts in the open ocean, where a sea turtle swims toward a shoreline it hasn't seen in decades. Some animals don't just migrate, they remember. They leave their birthplace as juveniles, travel thousands of miles across oceans, forests, and deserts, and then, somehow, return to the exact place they were born, not months later, not a year later, but decades later. Scientists call this behavior natal homing, the ability to return to one specific location after years of absence. And it's one of the most mysterious navigation abilities in the natural world. These animals aren't following maps. They aren't using landmarks the way we do, yet they arrive with astonishing precision, sometimes within just a few meters of their original home. So how is this possible? What invisible signals guide them across a planet in constant motion? And how does memory survive when the journey lasts a lifetime? Sea turtles are born on a beach they will not see again for decades. As hatchlings, they crawl toward the ocean, guided by moonlight and instinct, and then they disappear into the vast open sea. For years, sometimes 30, 40, even 50 years, they travel thousands of miles across entire oceans. And yet, when the time comes, they return. Somehow, a turtle that left as a newborn can find its way back to the exact stretch of sand where it was born. Scientists believe they navigate using Earth's magnetic field, memorizing the unique magnetic signature of their home beach. It's a natural GPS written into their biology. But even today, one question remains: how does something so small remember something so precise for so long? Sea turtles aren't the only animals that do this. Every year, birds leave familiar land behind and fly across continents, sometimes traveling farther than any human ever could without stopping. Arctic terns, for example, migrate from the Arctic all the way to Antarctica and back again, covering more than 40,000 miles in a single year. And yet, they return to the same nesting sites, sometimes landing within a few feet of where they were born. In rivers across the world, salmon perform a similar miracle. After spending years in the open ocean, they swim upstream against powerful currents, guided by an incredible sense of smell. Each river carries a chemical fingerprint, and salmon can recognize it like a memory. No maps, no instructions, just instinct and an unbreakable pull toward home, which raises an even bigger question: why does home matter so much to them? Scientists believe these journeys aren't just about instinct, they're about survival. Returning to familiar places means known food sources, safer nesting grounds, and environments that have worked before. Over thousands of years, animals that remembered where to return were the ones that survived, and slowly, a memory became part of biology. But even with everything science has uncovered, something about these journeys still feels deeply emotional. These animals don't just return to a location, they return to a beginning, to the place where life started. Maybe that pull toward home isn't just an animal instinct. Maybe it's something shared by all living things, a quiet reminder of where we come from and why we never truly forget it, because no matter how far the journey goes, some paths always lead back. But the ocean isn't the only place where this mystery unfolds. High above the earth, birds are making journeys just as astonishing. Every year, certain species migrate thousands of miles, crossing continents, storms, and open water, only to return to the exact same patch of land they left years before. Not just the same country, not even the same region, sometimes the very same tree. Scientists have discovered that many birds use Earth's magnetic field like an invisible map. Tiny particles in their bodies allow them to sense direction in ways humans never could. But magnetism alone doesn't explain everything. Some birds return even when landscapes change, when forests are cut down, when coastlines shift. They remember the shape of the land, the angle of the sun, the smell of the air. Young birds flying these routes for the first time somehow know where to go, guided by instincts passed down through generations, as if the memory of home is written into them long before they ever leave. Some of the longest journeys on Earth don't happen in the sky, they happen beneath the waves. Every year, whales travel thousands of miles across open ocean, from icy feeding grounds to warm breeding waters, and then back again. No landmarks, no roads, just endless blue in every direction. Humpback whales are known to migrate over 5,000 miles in a single journey. Grey whales travel even farther, completing one of the longest migrations of any mammal on the planet. And somehow, they never lose their way. Scientists believe whales use a combination of sound, memory, and Earth's magnetic field to navigate. Low-frequency calls travel for hundreds of miles underwater, allowing whales to communicate and possibly orient themselves across vast distances. Even young whales, making the journey for the first time, stay on course. They follow routes their ancestors traveled long before they were born. It's as if the ocean itself remembers and guides them home. Despite decades of research, satellites, and tracking technology, scientists still don't have all the answers. Yes, we know animals use the sun, the stars, Earth's magnetic field, but none of these explanations fully explain the precision. How does a sea turtle return to the exact beach where it was born after decades at sea? How does a bird land on the same tree, the same branch, year after year? Even small errors would send them miles off course, and yet they arrive exactly where they need to be. Some researchers believe memory plays a role. Others believe animals inherit maps encoded deep within their DNA. And some admit something even more surprising, that animals may sense the world in ways we don't yet understand. Invisible signals, subtle forces, clues we haven't learned how to measure. The more we study these journeys, the more mysterious they become. These journeys are more than survival. They're a reminder that no matter how far life carries us, some places never stop calling. Some paths stay with us, even when we don't realize it. For animals, returning home is instinct. For us, it's memory, a feeling, a pull we can't always explain. And maybe that's the real lesson, that home isn't just a place on a map, it's something written deeper than distance. Because no matter how far the journey goes, some paths always lead back. One of the most astonishing returns ever recorded involved a single animal, not a species, just one. A dog that vanished during a move hundreds of miles from home. There were no familiar roads, no known scent trails that should have lasted that long. Days passed, then weeks, then years. Most people would have assumed the story ended there. But nearly 2 years later, the dog was found, thin, exhausted, and injured, near the exact neighborhood it had once lived in. Veterinarians couldn't explain how it survived the journey. Animal behaviorists couldn't agree on how it navigated. Some believe it followed fragments of scent, refreshed by wind and weather. Others believe memory played a bigger role than we want to admit. Not just memory of smell, but memory of direction, of belonging, because this wasn't wandering, this was movement with purpose. Stories like these force us to look closer, not just at animals, but at ourselves, because humans navigate by memory too, by familiar streets, by places that feel like beginnings. We may use maps and technology, but deep down, we still follow instincts. Instincts shaped by places we once knew, by moments that stayed with us. Maybe that's why these journeys feel so powerful. They remind us that memory isn't just something we store, it's something that guides us, and that even in a world constantly changing, some directions never disappear. They wait, calling us back when the time is right.